Hello and welcome to today's episode of Light Lunch, where we're joined by our two Otago committee representatives, Jared and Mark. Mark, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, afternoon, kia ora all. My name is Mark Keane. I'm Operations Manager for Nadelove in Dunedin. I've been with Nadelove for 18 years, upcoming 18 years, yep.
And Jared.
Hi everyone, my name is Jared Glue. I'm a Senior Project Manager for RCP on the new Dunedin Hospital project on the outpatient building. And just coming up 2 years in sunny Dunedin, moved down for the project and really enjoying it so far.
Cool. Right, so we are going to hear from these two about things that are keeping them awake at night. Mark, do you want to kick us off?
Yes, thank you. What's keeping me up at night at the moment, and I'm I guess a biased main contractor, I believe and feel strongly that the role of the design manager from a main contractor perspective has a key ongoing role in project delivery. I think we've got an opportunity to integrate them better into projects, providing that bridge between contractor and consultant team. Projects, they get into a battle over information and RFIs and whatnot, and this design manager can just add so much value. I think if we can see more seamless integration of that role and that person, it would be the betterment for the project.
All right, and Jared.
Yes, different from Mark, just from a sort of client side perspective. Fire design compliance has been one thing that we've really had to focus a lot of energy on our project in order to get through the regulatory consent process. It's obviously crucial to get right, and I think the events of this week in Wellington really demonstrate that. But yeah, it is we've got a lot of really talented people helping to get us across the line on our fire design compliance, but it is something that's certainly evolved in complexity and difficulty to achieve over the last couple of years. So that's something that's we're sort of trying to upskill ourselves on and keep up with how the regulatory environment's changing in that space.
And I'd say too, Jared, from a main contractor perspective and subs as well, it's complicated. There's a lot of mystery that surrounds the strategies that are applied. And so a broader understanding from consultant level right through to the guys at the coalface would be a massive advantage, I think, and you would see a more superior outcome too.
Yeah, it's been a pretty steep learning curve for the whole team. So yeah, we will get there, but it's taking a lot of time and attention at the moment.
And Mark, what else has been keeping you up?
Yeah, well, on a similar wavelength, I guess, safety and design. It's been something that's been around for a while and talked about, certainly. I think we're at the point now where it's time to, rubber's got to meet the road, as it were, and start implementing some genuine safety and design outcomes which affect the worker on the coalface. Where procurement strategies allow, I think, bringing in, I mentioned the design manager, but bringing in a contractor perhaps earlier to genuinely influence that process would see more effective and safer outcomes on site, whether it's floor systems, parapet detailing, whatever it might be. There's a number of examples there where bringing the contractor in earlier and some capacity to influence that safety and design would see a safer outcome on sites.
Is that something you're trying to do, or something?
Yes. So Nadelove has a national strategy at the moment. Something we're really pushing is in the safety and design space, and so hopefully we'll see the fruit of that effort soon. But it is complicated, particularly when you've got a developer type a client who it's a commercial entity at the end of the day. It's just finding that balance where we can maintain safe and effective solutions to make safer and efficient construction.
And Jared.
Cost of construction is sort of another concern from a client side perspective. It does remain stubbornly high, and obviously it's easy to understand what's led to that, the factors including COVID-19 and the just the supply chain issues that have affected the market for some time now. But yeah, it just does contribute to difficulty in getting projects off the ground. and a lot of projects we're across at the moment are grappling with inflation and increased construction costs, and that's something that's going to continue to be a factor in decision making for some time yet.
Yes, I think we've noticed that with our award entries this year, is that people are saying there's actually not many projects that are going to be finished in the time frame. So there's not as many people to put forward for these awards right now. So
yeah, that's right. No, there's a lot of projects. Yeah, there's a lot of projects in the pipeline that are just trying to grapple with that funding issue, and that's across public and private sector. So yeah, definitely something that the whole industry is working through at the moment.
Right, and Marc, what about you? Something
Yeah,
else?
yeah, there's plenty on my list, but the third item for today at least is the I'd like to see further push with the digital strategies being created and implemented on projects. When you see an effective digital strategy in place, and I guess I'm focusing on BIM as much as anything, it just improves the whole process. It's more collaborative. You can work through coordination. I guess it goes back to my earlier point around the design manager influence as well. And also through the digital strategy, you can demonstrate more effectively safety planning. And so there's, I guess, the challenge that we see is where, we're not at the table necessarily at this decision-making time with the clients, but where the consultant teams especially can influence the client to consider and implement a digital strategy. It's a really great outcome for the entire project.
Yeah, I did. Oh, and Jared.
Yeah, my last one's just the economic outlook in general. It is looking like it could be quite a tough sort of 12 to 18 months out there, and I think everyone's waiting with bated breath just to see what's going to unfold. If you look at the OCR interest rates and just the volume of construction work that's coming up in the pipeline, the next sort of 4 to 6 months will tell the tale really. But yeah, I think everyone's in the same boat on that one, just seeing what unfolds next.
Oh, so the next part's a little lighter, where we learn a little bit about you guys. So starting with you, Marc, what is something you have been reading, listening, or watching?
Yeah, cool. Well, my wife and I are obsessed with Succession at the moment, the final season. It's funny. I'm into sports podcasts as well, and you're always picking up little tips and tricks around teamwork and whatnot, and leadership. And it's interesting watching Succession, which of course is fictional, but seeing perhaps one way that leadership is put into practice. But those who haven't seen it, Succession is unbelievable. It's a fantastic series.
I'm finding it hard to get past like the first episode. It's so different.
It's complex. Yeah, I should push through. You should push through. It's very much it's outstanding. I'm not much of a pleasure reader, but I did set myself a couple of goals. I've read Shoe Dog, the Nike story, which was very good, quite informative. And I'm reading the book at the moment, Cobalt Red, which is it's quite, I guess, a heavy topic, cobalt mining in Congo, but it's very interesting, quite thought-provoking. Wow. So that'll be one to someone that might be interested.
After a hard day of work.
It is. Yeah, it takes a bit of effort to get into it, but it's very rewarding.
And what about you, Jared? Listening, reading, watching?
I haven't been watching too much TV lately, and the TV I have been watching is exclusively Bluey and Gabby's Dollhouse. I think the kids really sort of gets the run of it in our household. But yeah, I do quite a bit of reading. I love a good autobiography. So I've just recently finished Rui Tui's book, which was really, really good. Really enjoyed that. Also a bit of escapism as well. Jack Reach is one that I tend to reach for when it comes around every year. So just working my way through the next installment of that. But just the autobiographies are generally the ones I tend to reach for.
Yeah, nice. Same. I quite like an autobiography. So Marc, what is something that you do for yourself for your well-being?
Yeah, not always the best at actively relaxing. I think with our roles and the projects and just everything in general, it's hard to actively relax. But Love spending time with the family. I guess it's a bit cliche, but I actually enjoy their company. It helps charge the batteries.
Fill your cup.
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah, exactly. It does fill the cup. And getting outside in the garden, just getting outside, a bit of fresh air and feeling like you're actually achieving something. So, yeah, don't climb mountains or anything, but being outside with the family is more than enough for me.
And fresh air is a huge one, right? I really missed that from lockdown when you had to go outside. There was, and yeah, it just made you a lot fresher and clearer, I think.
Yep, I agree.
And Jared.
I've been trying to get into the running lately. I've signed myself up for the Dunedin Half Marathon later this year, which will be a good challenge. I sort of had been training for the Queenstown Half Marathon about 18 months ago, which ended up getting cancelled due to COVID, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm getting into a program now where I'm sort of I try and get out in the early morning or late at night, sort of after the kids are in bed, but it's something that I can do anytime and it sort of doesn't take anything apart from getting your shoes on and getting out the door. So yeah, I'm not particularly quick, but I do find it clears the mind quite well. So yeah, I'm going to keep on chugging this time and get my way through the 21Ks, and it's going to be good.
And when is that, sorry?
First week of September, I believe. So yeah, you're sort of run around the Dunedin waterfront for a wee bit and end up at the Emerson's pub, which is a good finished goal to aim. That'll keep me going the last couple of Ks for some chips and a beer.
Surprised you said chips first. I would have probably gone beer first.
Yeah, true.
And Mark, what is your motto for life?
Yeah, interesting when sort of challenged with what that is. I guess for me, it's about understanding, what you can influence and control, what's in your orbit that you can effectively manage or lead your way through, and worrying less about the things you can't. It's easy to overthink and analyze things that are outside of your sphere of influence, and so plan for every eventuality, but not sweat the small stuff so much, and just roll with it when things do occur. So being nimble, I guess, in a sense. So yeah, certainly something I'll say to my teams regularly is just worry about the things you can influence and less about the things you can't.
Absolutely. I think we all need to hear that every day. And Jared, what about you? What's your motto?
One I always try and keep front of mind, and it's actually was a Teddy Roosevelt quote, is comparison is the thief of joy. As quite a competitive person, I find myself reaching for that quite often, because often when I've got some negative thought patterns or feeling a bit down, about 80 to 90% of the time it's probably because I'm comparing myself to someone else, and I need to just refresh and take a step back and realize that I'm running my own race, and that helps get me through. I
actually saw that one time on social media and I was like, this is what we're doing. We're sitting here comparing ourselves on social media. And
social media is terrible for it. I've toyed with the idea of actually deleting my social media. I haven't got that far because I enjoy watching all the silly videos that come up more than anything, and tagged in the photos of my kids. But it's definitely worth considering.
Wow. It's a really good. Sorry, Claire, I was just going to say it's a really good quote, Jared. And something my wife said to me just recently is just stepping back and just realizing what you do actually have. We want. We're always trying to grow and develop and want this and want that. And I think just stepping back sometimes and just recognizing what you have achieved is really important. And I think with children too, it's a bit of a leveler. And just when you come home, they don't particularly care for that. They just want to see dad or mum. So it's a good call, Jared.
Isn't that a lot that you learn at the end of the day as well?
Yeah, remembering to celebrate the big ones. The wins is a big one as well, especially on big projects. You get caught up in this sort of tune and forget to actually reflect on what you've achieved on a regular basis, which I think is important as well.
Absolutely. Cool. Now, Jared, would you like to tell everybody a little bit about the legal breakfast we have coming up?
I would, yeah. So in Dunedin, we've got a legal breakfast presented by Richard Johnson from Left Bank Chambers. That's coming up on Friday, the 7th of July. At Fable Hotel in Dunedin. So there'll be some comms released on that in the coming days, but that'll be a really good one to get along to. Richard does a great job in presenting for the NZIOB every year and has done in Christchurch for a number of years now. So we're looking to bring that knowledge and expertise to Dunedin and share it with our local NZIOB community. So I hope to see you all there.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today, guys, and we'll see you shortly.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Chloe.
everyone.
Thanks, Jared.
See you. Bye.